HIM3.6.2 standard deviation.
First, we're going to start off with this set of numbers, and we're going to find the mean. So we'll just go across adding them up. This is for later.
So in order to find the mean, you add up all the numbers. It's like the average that we've done a lot. And then you divide it by the number of numbers that there are. So this is the old school way, adding up without the calculator. Takes a long time.
A little bit longer.
A lot longer. So 930. So now we divide 930 by 13.
Let me make a little bit more room.
Oh, by the way, this is measuring the percentages that students pay attention in E period math. So that's our class. So we're going to see what's the average percentage students pay attention, and then we're going to find the standard deviation.
There are 13 terms, so we're going to divide it by that many.
So 13 kids in our class.
So it's about 71.
So our mean is 71, which we're going to use later in our equation for standard deviation. Okay. Now we're going to go over to this board and learn about standard deviation. So here's the equation for standard deviation. Okay, so to find the standard deviation, this is the equation. So what we do is, this means is read as sigma, really it just means it's the standard deviation. And then these are the data points like x1, x2, and it goes on for how many data points you have. Now the x with the bar over it is the mean. So what you're doing is, it's kind of like the Pythagorean theorem. You're subtracting the mean from the data point, and then you're squaring it. And then you're dividing, and then you're adding each one up, and then you're dividing it all over the number of data points, and then you're square rooting it all. Because it makes sense, if you have to square it, you have to square root it all. Okay, so for the first one, we have 60. So we do 60 minus the average, which was 71, which we solved over there with Calvin. Okay, so then we put it in parentheses and square it, and then we keep adding them. So now we have 80 minus 71. You square it. This seems kind of really tedious, but the thing is, you don't really have to write it all out. You can kind of do it in your head. So for the next one, it's like 70, and the one is 71. So that's a difference of 1, and then you square it, so it's just 1. And then for the next one, it's 70 again. So then, oh, you know, it's 90. So it's 19. It's 19 squared. Don't know what that is on the top of my head. Then we have 70, which is 1 again. 100, which is 29 squared, if you're just subtracting them in your head. Okay. And then you have 90 minus 71, which is 19 again. And then, okay, so over here we had the equation. It was kind of messy, so we rewrote it over here. So each of these numbers is the data point minus the mean squared. So it's like, this was 11, so that's 121, and on and on and on. Okay, so then we add them all up, and we get 6,973, still over 13. So then we divide this by this, and we get square root of 536. Do the square root of 536 in your calculator, and you get 23.2. So 23.2 is our standard deviation. So that's what we've been trying to find. So the standard deviation means the regular number of how much they differ from the mean. Like 0 is going to have a huge standard deviation because it's really far from 71, whereas like 70 is going to have a really small one. So this is basically just expressing that. So now from the standard deviation, we can find out the percentage of all the numbers that are within 1% of the standard deviation. So this is the standard deviation, and now what we want to do is find the percent of the data points that are within one standard deviation of the mean. So we have 23.2. Now we can go back over here to the data points, and we can see which ones are within 23.2 of 71. So we need to find ones that are within 23.2 of 71, because that was the mean. Okay, so 60 that's 11. That's definitely within 23.2. So an easier way to do this is to go back over here and just take the square root of all of these and then see if they're within. So that's 11, 9, 1, I don't know what that was, 19, 1, 29, 19, 1, 9, 9, 1, 1, 71. So these are all the differences between, this is doing this to 60 minus 71 and then making it positive. So we have all of these, and then which ones are within 23.2 of the mean, which is, well, no, just say which one of these are less than 23.2. So this one is, 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 this one isn't, so cross that one out. This one is not. So 2 out of 13 are not. So 2 out of 13 not within one standard deviation. Okay. So out of that we can find the percent that aren't within the standard deviation. So we do 2 divided by 13. Choose your calculator. Just do 2 divided by 13.15. So about 15.4%. And there we go.
And that's standard deviation. So here's some extra things. Like I said, we'd come over here for a second. 0 was our outlier. I said we'd come back to it later, so now we're going to talk about it. Back to this board. As we said earlier, the standard deviation of our first set of numbers was 23.2, and that was with our outlier. And without the outlier, it makes a huge difference. As you can see, we redid the standard deviation without 0, and it came out to 12.7. And if we look up here, you can see that now 19 wouldn't fit in, so that would change it. Adding 2 more that would not go within one standard deviation. So it'd be 4 out of 13. And I'll go to the calculator. So instead of 15.4, it went up to about 30.7%. And some extra information is just sometimes the question will ask you to find the range. And in this set, the highest number was 100 and the lowest was 0. So our range was 100. And that's it.